Hey, I'm Rob from JTRpodcast.com and I'm going to show you how to play Tapestry. This is a game for 2 to 5 players with separate solo rules available and additional rules for a 2-player game. Plays in about 120 minutes, is designed by Jamie Stegmaier and published by Stonemaier Games. You control a fledgling civilization in an alternate Earth. Use science, technology, exploration and military as well as a bustling capital city to score the most points over 5 eras and have the best civilization. Now, setup can be divided into 2 sections, the global area and the player area, so let's look at the global area first. Choose the correct side of the board for the player count. It's shown on the board. Shuffle the tapestry cards and place them next to their space on the outside of the board. Shuffle the orange technology cards, lay 3 out in their space marked out on the edge of the board face up and put the deck in its own space. Shuffle the territory and space tiles and place them face down next to the board. Put out the landmark board and put the landmarks on their spaces. Put the rest on the table near the technology cards if possible for convenience. Put the green D12 near the green science track and the D6s near the red military track. Players put a token on 0 of the point track and at the start of all 4 advancement tracks around the board. For player setup, each player gets a random capital city map which they put to the right of their player board. For a 2 to 3 player game, pair up the 6 capital cities by their number, matching the pairs on the starting spaces on the board. 1, 6, 2, 4 and 3, 5. Players choose one of these pairs at random and pick one as their capital city. Players will start the game in that location on the board, matching the number at the top of their capital city board. Put 2 outpost tokens of the player colour on the starting space on the board. So at this point, if you're going to arrange seating around the table so you're sitting closer to your capital city, now is the time to do it. Fill the right 5 spaces on the 4 tracks from the right with farms, houses, markets and armories, matching the symbol on the left of the track, leaving the leftmost space open. Put 1 token of each resource on 0 of the resource track at the bottom of the player board. Everyone gets 2 civilization mats. Each player chooses one and will put it to the left of their player board. Those not chosen are shuffled back into the deck. Now is the perfect time to carry out any steps on civilization cards that contain a "when you gain this civilization" section. It's also worth checking the website to see if there are any errata that addresses issues with balance between the civilizations. This may not only change their rules but update their setup steps. Choose a random start player. Now on to gameplay. Players are going to take turns taking one action, either collect income or advance on a track. On the first turn of a game, players must collect income, so let's take a look at that first. During income, players start a new era by performing actions if they activate for your current era in the 4 steps of income. Your current era is the number below the rightmost space that contains a picture, so you start the game in Era 1, Maker of Fire. Now in Era 1 you only do the 4th step of the income phase, but I'm going to cover them all now. Step 1. This is skipped in your first income turn. Activate your civilization ability if there is one. For example, the heralds basically allow you to use an ability of a card in play, even if you don't own that card. Step 2. This is skipped in your first and 5th income. Play a tapestry card from your hand into the leftmost empty space of your income map. If no player either side of you has moved into this area yet, gain the resources shown in the space under that card. Activate when played effects on the tapestry card. For example, espionage allows you to copy another tapestry card in play. If you don't happen to have a tapestry card in your hand, play one face down from the top of the deck into the space instead. Step 3 is skipped in the first income phase. During the game you will gain technology cards that you play next to your board, more on that later. During this step of income, you may upgrade a technology card by moving it up a slot and gaining the benefit in the matching shape. For example, upgrading the library to the first level gives you the benefit in the circle, which in this case is 3 points. One of your neighbours must meet the criteria on the left of the card to get into the 3rd square tier. For example, on the bakery card, one of your neighbours must have revealed farming on their player board. Neighbours refers to the players on your left and right. The one with the larger figure in the middle means if you're the first of your neighbours to do something. The 3 smaller figures is you or your neighbours need to have accomplished something. In step 3 you also gain VPs from exposed symbols with laurels on the tracks. Each symbol has something different in them. The market track shows yellow technology card, which allows you to gain 1 victory point for each technology card you have next to your income map. The houses track shows the symbol on the top of your capital city board. Gain 1 victory point for each fully completed row and column in your capital city. And to explain this properly, we need to look at buildings and landmarks. They are placed in the capital city from your player board and other places and can't be placed on these red impassable dots, although they do count as filled spaces when looking at completed rows and columns. When you gain a building, take the leftmost one from your board and put it onto your capital city. Landmarks are also placed on the board and can extend outside the grid, but still not on top of any red impassable dots. When you fill a 9 square district, gain any 1 resource. There is a reminder on the top right of the player board. Back to the tracks, and the farms track gives you the number of VPs shown. The armories track gives you 1 VP for each controlled territory tile on the map. You control a tile if you have an upright outpost on it. Income step 4 is skipped in the 5th income phase and the only one you do in the first income of the game. You gain resources, territory tiles and tapestry cards from exposed symbols on the income track. The market track gives you coins, the houses track workers, the farms track food, and the armories track gives you culture for each of the exposed symbols. These are gathered using the matching tokens on the track at the bottom of the player board, and you have a maximum of 8 of each resource. When you gain a territory tile, draw one and keep it face up in front of you. When gaining a tapestry card, you draw it from the top of the deck and look at it, but keep it hidden from the other players. On the first turn of the game, each player will have 1 resource, 1 territory tile, 1 tapestry card and 0 points, plus any bonus earned from your civilization. Now on your turn, if you don't take income, you can advance on a track. All you need to do is pay the cost and move up on any advancement track. This is done in 3 steps. Step 1. Pay the costed resources under the tier of the track on the space you're moving into. For example, moving within tier 1 of the exploration track costs 1 of any resource. Tier 2 requires 1 food plus 1 of any resource. Each of the 4 tracks specialises in each of the 4 resource types. The exploration track uses food, science, workers, military, culture and technology, coins. Step 2. Move the token. Gain the benefit shown in the middle of the row on the space. I'll explain some of these shortly. If you're the first player to move into the 2nd, 3rd or 4th tier on a track, put the matching landmark shown on the space in your capital city. Step 3. You may use a bonus space if it has one by exchanging the left resource for the right bonus. For example, this space allows you to pay 1 of any resource to draw a tapestry card. Now all of the symbology and the cards can be explained on these 2 cheat sheets here, so I won't explain them all now, but each track does have a core ability, which I will explain. The blue exploration track lets you explore, shown by the blue-green tile symbol. Place a tile you have in your supply on any empty space next to a space you control in any orientation. Gain 1 victory point for each side of the hex touching another tile that has at least 1 matching terrain on the adjacent tile spaces. There only needs to be a partial match to score a point. For example, the 2 touching sides of these 2 tiles here partially match water, so this side will be worth 1 point. Ignore the strip of blue down one side of the tile if it has one. Gain a benefit on the middle of the tile if it has one. For example, this tile gives you 1 worker. If you're in tier 4 of the exploration track, you gain space tiles that are placed next to your income map. Gain space income on the top of the tile. For example, this tile gives you 13 points. The green science track lets you research, shown by the green D12 symbol. Roll the science die and then you may advance on the track for free. If the die symbol has an X under it, you move it but you do not gain the benefit or bonus of the space you move into. The yellow technology track lets you invent, shown with the yellow technology card symbol. Gain a face-up technology card or a card from the top of the deck and replace it immediately. Put it to the right of the X on the capital city map. Each level can have any number of cards. And these cards are advanced upwards in the income step as I mentioned earlier. The red military track lets you conquer, shown by the outpost on a red hex symbol. Put an outpost on an empty territory or an opponent's territory adjacent to one of your own. You can't move into a territory that has more than 1 token on it, including tokens that have been toppled or cubes that may have been placed due to certain effects. Roll the 2d6s and gain the benefit shown on one of them. The red die gives you either the point shown or will show a tile in laurels which will give you 1 victory point for each tile you control. The black die will give you 1 of the resource shown or will show the question mark which allows you to gain the benefit shown in the middle of the newly conquered tile. If moving into an opponent's territory, topple their outpost. An opponent can play a tapestry card called Trap if they have one. You still gain the benefit of the conquer die, but you topple your own outpost instead. The player that played this tapestry card as a trap will discard the card and also gain a resource. Now players can make deals, but you can't trade resources, only words, and if you run out of outposts, you can no longer take the conquer action, but you can still gain the benefit from the rest of the track. And turns will go clockwise around the table with players either taking income or advancing on a track. And remember, to speed up the game a little, it's okay to overlap turns with the previous player, especially if they're taking income and they've already played their tapestry card. There are 3 achievements. When you complete an achievement, put a token on the highest empty point value spot and score those points immediately. You can do this when you get to the end of one of the tracks, you topple 2 outposts belonging to an opponent, or conquer the island in the centre of the board. And a single player can't gain the same achievement more than once. It is possible to gain another civilization card. It's placed to the left in addition to your current civilization. When you complete the income for your 5th era, your game ends, but other players will continue until they have each taken their 5th income. And at this point, all you can do is gain victory points from passing civilization abilities. When all players finish, the player with the most victory point wins, with the tiebreaker going to the player with the most remaining resources. And that's Tapestry, a civilization building game. Please like this video if you found it useful, share it to let others know about it, and subscribe to the channel for more how to play videos as well as other board game related content. You can find me on Twitter and Insta at JTR Podcast, and you can find my blog and other social links at jtrpodcast.com. I've been Rob, aka Jesta ThaRogue, and until next time, keep weaving your own tapestry.